Hey guys, it's another momentum conversation here. We're going to frame them around Momentum Mondays. I'm here with a friend, Mason Taylor, who I just hold in really high regard and wanted to share him with you guys. Does a lot of really epic things, and has definitely, what I've noticed, is building a lot of momentum lately. And that's what we talk about a lot. So Mason, what's going on in your world right now?
Hey man, at the moment, I'm actually spending a lot of time contemplating what that means, what that momentum concept and phenomena actually means. And I actually knew, I'm coming towards the end of this year, and I've known for about 2 years that at this point of time, I need to ensure that I'm facing in the right direction, because I'm actually just going to really get projected into whatever direction I'm facing. And so I've been, just like we were talking about beforehand, just like spending that time just to actually contemplate and just get rid of that noise for a little bit and just go, hang on, what do I actually want to be doing with this life again? Let all the other stuff strip away, let some stuff die if it needs to, some other stuff be born. I'm just kind of in that process now. And just lying low a little bit and seeing where I want that momentum to take me.
I like it, because I normally ask this at the end, but I feel to ask it now. What's momentum to you?
Yeah, momentum's a pretty full-on concept, man. It is an absolutely incredible phenomena, and I have been getting distinct on momentum through the idea of immunological momentum a lot. I was doing an interview a couple of weeks ago, and someone just made that distinction about immunity and longevity being more appropriate to talk about immune systems and health, rather than saying immune fortification or sophistication, which it kind of puts out there this idea that you're going to arrive into a place where your immune system's safe and keeps the donkey chasing the carrot kind of energy, which is a lot of people, especially me. I've always been just through my Western conditioning, and I've seen a lot of people, can get the success, get the health, get the stress-free state, and get the immune system. And then there's this there's this ambiguous, then you've got, what do you have? We don't even know. But the idea of maintaining immunological momentum has a continuum about it. There's a continuous. It incites me having a conversation with life, rather than having a dictation about what life needs to be. And that I've been really, really doing that with my immune system a lot of the time, because I caught myself in, I'm in the health profession, and I've caught myself doing a lot of the donkey chasing the carrot around the health game. But I've now rather started getting committed to the momentum of the continuing to, just have a conversation with my immune system, with my body, and then with my life. And it's the momentum just kind of ripples out from there. It's kind of in a fractal way I'm talking about the immune system. And it enables me to just continue to unify, whatever that means. Again, I don't think unity necessarily has an end point. However, that continuing to have just a dialogue with myself and with the elements around me, that's what momentum is for me.
Nice. I love that definition. It's fun too, because even in there's fluidity as well, where it'll evolve and transform, and it's got space, which I love. Because I think a lot of times when people first hear momentum, they think about a steam train. Kind of like you used to see, and we've both probably done personal development in the past, and you hit your goals and you hit your things. And for me, I just felt empty on the inside. I could have the car, I could have the house, I could have the story.
Yeah.
There has to be something more than this. Otherwise, what am I doing here on this planet? And
that's you hit a real good point there, I think, with the idea of busting through limitations and conditioning to achieve your goals. That there is absolutely the worst way that you can create momentum, I think personally, is to break through anything. And it also lacks enchantment. The idea that there's something internally within myself or something in this world trying to suppress me and put me down. And so then we kind of turn to things in the personal development world, affirmations and distinctions on bringing one part of yourself up for analysis, or to take the reins instead of that other part. And there's a continuing ignorance that's been thrown, a suppression been thrown on that part of you which wants to get looked at. And that's when you've got a team, which is my multidimensional self, we're a big team, big community, and I don't want to leave anyone behind. I don't want to be, I don't want to be suppressing anyone, because in the long run, it's not going to do much for my momentum when I'm getting to 50 and 60, and my little child inside of me, that part of me, I'm letting out right now, one's like really confused and about life, and like to be pretty like raw. Like, I was, even last night I was doing a yin yoga practice, and I just went in, I was like chatting with my organs, and chatting with like parts of me that are just like still, despite all the personal development, petrified of judgment, and also parts of me that are like super resentful towards the way that I was brought up, the kind of Western conditioning that I have. And I can't even, like, just going about that angle, like, like, no, don't judge it, like that, like, slap on that affirmation. Yeah, that's still too fluffy for me. I had to get in there and actually have like a big, solid, gritty, like, all right, what's up? What's up with the, like, what are you scared of? What are you scared of? Like, like, and I like to talk about this because I don't know, like, whenever I'm doing events or coaching with people, I like to communicate just how in my shit I am, constantly. Like, it's really not rainbows and butterflies, this path of creating momentum. It's like you go down deep into the nourishing mud, and we get more skilled at gaining momentum through those places. And often when we go into those places of like where we can become whatever, anxious, really down on ourselves, really confused about the world, whatever it is, often, I kept on finding that's the mud. I'm trying to like still charge through the mud with that high energy. Come on, get up, you can do it. Woo! And that tired me out big time, tired out my adrenals. And now I just slow right down at those times. I give myself like right now, cruising through this period, I've kind of gotten a little bit better at somewhat paraphylactically giving myself that time to just chill, because I know this is the time of year where I do it anyway. And a lot of people do it, but I've got like 3 or 4 times throughout the year that I just know, okay, slow down now, because I've just learned very quickly that I don't even focus on speeding it up and going as fast as possible. However, I am kind of committed to very adventurous life, and a life that's got a lot of like, reaps a lot of juices in terms of experiences and learnings and growth, whatever. And momentum's necessary for that. So what's going to continue to allow me to have the greatest momentum possible at various times, that's to slow right down, and have these real deep, gritty conversations with myself. That's where I'm at the moment.
That's what I love with these conversations I have with friends like yourself. Just, it brings out another element of ourselves. We do it with ourselves, and then we speak to one another, and it's interesting just to evolve together into whatever it is. Interesting space.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's interesting. I really appreciate it. I'm like, we've been on like 5 minutes and having a blast.
Yeah, cool, huh? What I'm curious about too, I've been asking people about too, is daily habits. Do you have a daily practice? Particular things that you tend to do every day? You might not have a rigid one, but is there certain things, some people are going to look at you, you're going to go through your highs and lows, but say the man you were 5 years ago, the stuff you're going through now probably would have broken you. And that could be a good assumption? Or
yeah, like, but like then this is the thing. It's like, as you get greater capacity, you're just going to take on more of a, for lack of a better word, like, burden or just challenge in life. And I just, it's like if you ever practice martial arts, as you kind of continue to develop yourself, and as you're able to ask deeper questions, the challenges that the sensei will throw at you and the kind of ferocity that they'll throw at you, it just gets more intense, and we love it, and so that's like, so I'm definitely more able, but I don't suspect that the pressure to alleviate anytime soon. I'm just learning to skate and dance through that pressure with a little bit more grace, ease, and flow.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go through the daily habits. You got any?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very cyclical over the years. I've gone very much from being strict as you can imagine with my practice, going through like a yogic period, and then again into my martial arts, until like, you know, so like 2 years ago, I really went through a massive shedding, like huge detoxification and purging of my dogmatic rule-based approach to life. And from that point, you know, like 2 years ago, I just kind of like stopped all my practices, my sun gazing, you know, the way I was practicing meditation, all those things. And I started going, you know, back into my past a little bit to make some peace with my past a little bit more. And then at that point, then I've started going like, right, I want my essence to express what the practices are that are really going to like really help me evolve in a very dynamic way. And I found now like what's reemerged is, you know, exactly what I've been doing my whole life. That's an interesting point for me that I've really like, even this morning, getting way more distinct. My practices, which I'll get nuts and bolts about them. And of course I've got new skills because I like learning new skills and like actual practices. But the thing that I'm doing never changed. I was always on the money, even when I was a little kid. You know, even as a little kid, just like begging to go into the ocean. You know, that's a practice for me. You know, like, and so I've like most days, if I get the opportunity, if I'm not up in like in the hinterland where I'm living at the moment in Byron, I'm down near the beach, I'll go there, and my practice will be to have my time having my relationship with the water and the waves. That's one practice, because I'm just very, you know, I'm in the health game. I'm very keen on the water element. When I wake up first thing in the morning, I spent a year last year not getting out of bed until my innate intention emerged from within me. And I just, because I found myself, my mind making up intentions that were based on some idea that I thought I had to get. And so I spent a year lying there just waiting until it just, whatever, like, you know, whatever I was committed to that, like that day or whatever wanted to be explored that day emerged. And so still every day, you know, like I'll sit there and I'll wait till that emerges, and it doesn't take long now. I kind of just train myself to do that. Then I'll wake up, water, very first thing that I do in the morning is I go have a nice big glass of spring water, tongue scraping. I'll always get that going. And then from there, I'll always take a moment, whether it's in the bed or whether after I've done my tongue scraping, I'll take the opportunity to say like, all right, body, how do you want to get going this morning? You know, like I part of like what I was saying, like I go into the waves and into the water. That's my contemplation time. You know, I call that me going walkabout. You know, like that's my very, very, you know, could probably be interpreted in a different way based on, you know, way that people externally perceive the walkabout phenomena of the Aborigines here in Australia. But that time of going walkabout for me daily is about spending time in nature, not doing anything. That's my day, like my greatest daily practice. You know, like I don't go into nature, you know, or to the water. I don't go into the water to body surf. I don't go into, you know, nature to do my qigong or my martial arts or my stretching. I go there to be, and that's critical for me. You know, that walkabout time. You know, a friend of mine who's a Jagamara shaman in the indigenous culture here is explaining to me how, you know, like when we get those stuck thought patterns and those emotions just constantly just kind of being projected up constantly, and we just have to relive it. A lot of people get stuck in these thought loops for like decades. I know I've had some for years. And when you go walkabout, I mean, you're just like, you know, right now I'm looking out the window, winds, you know, like pushing all the leaves, and, you know, like there's a bird going past. The mind finally has something that it can attach those trapped mental and emotional loops to, and give it an access to be taken up. And that's the symbiotic relationship with the planet I feel that we have. And I'll spend, even if it's like 5 minutes, I'll spend that 5 minutes just looking out at the trees or being in the ocean, just like having that walkabout time. I stretch every day. I'll do some, you know, I'll do some very like, I do some intentional stretching of the fascia. That's the way that I'm very engaged with my fascia. I will also do a standing meditation. For, you know, and I don't get around to this every day, but most days I do. No, full down, no alignment cues. And I'll do that as a qigong practice. I'll do like my which like the guy I'm working with, mentoring me in my movement, we'll do our dinosaur arms like that, like as a practice, as an energy cultivating practice. My standing meditation is just full standing there, releasing all tensions from the major gates of my body and letting the heaviness come out of my body and letting my body start to align itself heavy through the arms. And that's been pretty incredible, some pretty incredible insights. Breathing practice, of course, for me most days, and then getting out there and working on my unified movement. This morning I was just down doing laps in the ocean pool. Some days I'm climbing trees, sometimes I'm doing groundwork. I'll mix and match it. And then the only other real like ritual that I have is making my herbal tonic as well. I like tuning into that.
We got to talk about that, because I just said at the start of the call, I'm having one right now. And oh man, I'm just stoked to learn more about this stuff. I'm curious how you started. You seem to have like a really strong indigenous connection, and also for some reason with the Chinese, with all these different things that we're into now, it's drawn me too. And I'm curious, what is it that's drawn about you? Because I seem on my journey, I just seem to bump into these different people when I'm out and about, and next thing they give me another little piece, and then next thing a little piece, and it keeps showing up in my experience. And I'm curious about, you talk about enchantment and lots of different things. Like, I just love the language and how it feels when you express it. So I'm curious, like, where did this even start? How did all these different things show up in your experience, and why are you so stoked, for want of a better word, to share it with the world? Well, aligned is probably a better word. Stoked feels different, but more, it just feels like aligned.
I'm aligned. I'm pretty stoked about it as well. That's a good question, man. You pointed out a couple of good things, and I think first of all, my connection to the shamanic roots, and it's kind of like where we're talking about Taoist yogis, the shamans thumping the shikapas in the Amazon, or the shamans here, they like holding the dream time, holding that connection to spirit realm. It's getting less ambiguous to me, and I think that was initiated, my exploration back into that was when I was like, I've always felt disconnected in this world, always, as much as I love it. I love in every layer, as much as like the post-industrial complex that's here right now, there's something, there's a big parts of it I really can't stand and make me feel icky, parts I really love, and I can see collectively humans attempting to evolve in somewhat of a sloppy way. But, in the West, we've just there's the indigenous over here, and then there's Westerners that have been assimilated over here for how many other generations. And then one day I just kind of realized, at one point in my lineage, we were indigenous, and you can say that we are indigenous of this land, but, calling a spade, you can realize when you go and sit in a tribe in the desert and here in Australia, like a tribe that still remembers their song and dance, there's something different there, than, if you sit like with some, elders in the West. And I kind of, as I'm starting to remember that, I was like, oh, that's right. There's no differentiation. There's just me remembering that part of me that is indigenous. And, again, like I say all the time, a friend of mine was saying, who is an Aborigine, he got swept up in the music scene, drugs, alcohol, got kind of like engulfed in the Western culture. And he said, then when he started to come back to the land and actually find himself, he started to remember his song and remember his dance. And that's the way he described it. And I thought, and that's why I'm now attracted to, say, like Taoist herbalism, and why I'm starting to now get back into true yogic philosophy. It's why I'm interested in the Aborigines here and the way that they walk the land in Australia, all over the all over the shamans all over the world. They're rocking. They're rocking that part of life. I find that is. We call them enchantment, and enchantment's seeing something that we got to bring back in. Enchantment's their reality. Now, I got interested in the herbalism because all of a sudden I got enchanted when I started thinking about the Taoists, thousands of years ago, sitting up on Changbai Mountain, watching the rhythms of nature and learning about yin and yang, and no disease or anything then. They're just like learning to cultivate energies in themselves and learning how to become badass humans because they're just like loving life. And they're like, right, how do we potentiate this thing? And they just like tune in and they hear like the call of a reishi mushroom, and it's like, these stories are like, you know, they're wild. You know, they're just sitting there watching deer, and the deer goes and chews on the eucommia bark, the eucommia, like Chinese rubber tree, and they're like, oh no, that deer had a broken leg, and now it's like it's healed in like, you know, like a snap of the time that we do. Let's try that, and then like that enchants me. And you know, that's why I got into the herbalism, because the herbalism, in tonic herbalism specifically, represents that time when we weren't post-industrial and we weren't dealing with a very sick culture with degenerative diseases and new diseases being created, like adrenal fatigue syndrome. Like, people, like, you know, there's doctors prescribe, you know, saying, diagnosing, yeah, you got adrenal fatigue syndrome. It's pretty weird, you know. It's not a thing, you know. Like, it is and it isn't. You know, I've had adrenal fatigue and like adrenal fatigue in the past, and it sucked. You know, I was like really down on myself and didn't have energy, and that's kind of what kicked me into this world a little bit, because I felt how messed up my body was at one point. And then everyone in the West is just trying to fix this problem. Fix, and it lacks the enchantment, because it lacks the adventurous pursuit of our own potential. And then people in the West seem to think that we get, like, you know, you get, okay, I'm kind of balanced again. All right, sweet. Now I'm not sick anymore. Like, you know, cut out the disease, blasted it, you know, whatever. Well, I did my Chinese herbs and now I don't have symptoms anymore. Sweet. I'll be a little bit healthier, or I'll just go back into the grind. And for me personally, that lacked enchantment. And what was enchanting was like, what's past that line? What's past that line is reality. You know, that true path of potential. You know, when you start to actually explore the ongoing sweet spot and learning the dialogue of the rhythms of nature, or the rhythms of your organs. You know, that's why I got into tonic herbalism, because it represented, for me, that was my in. You know, that was me getting like back into that world and into that state of, yeah, that's right. Okay, I feel safe in my body. Like, I started to actually feel my immune system for like the first time ever, which was insane. Like, you know, we're not taught that in year 3, you know, how to sit down and actually perceive your innate immune system and your natural killer cells and the process of phagocytosis, and actually be able to gain insight into what that is. I started to actually gain insight into what that is, and the exploration and the adventure came back. And so as I'm making my tonic in the morning, crafting it, and like, yeah, okay, put in my cacao, whatever, or a little bit of coffee to deliver it, you know, my lucuma or my mesquite, you know, little, like, you know, just these pink things to come in and like buffer it up and pretty it up, coconut oil. But then I get to the herbs and it's like, right, it's on. Okay, you know, it gets me to actually tune in and get sensitive to my circadian rhythm, to my energies. I don't even like, you know, I don't like using the terms like out of balance or anything like that necessarily, unless we're in that beginning stage when we need to get you back to, you know, being well enough and being responsible for your body, the enchantment can click back in. But because I'm constantly evolving, I constantly need to find a new center. Because it's like surfing, you know, surfing, there's no balance point, because the surface underneath you is moving and you're moving, and like it's full on. You're constantly needing to adjust and find that point again. And that's what life and health is actually like for me once you get to that point. And so every day I'm like, right, tune in. Right, now it's like, you know, summer's here, heart's asking for a bit more attention. There's nothing wrong with my heart. Right, okay, reishi mushroom. Boom, get the reishi mushroom in there. Who's supporting the heart? Who's supporting the fire energy? All right, liver. Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel my liver is actually like really supporting my heart. Right, so let's get some schizandra berry in there. You know, let's get some like chaga mushroom in there. You know, maybe some milk thistle or something like that to tone that up. And then I blend it up and I have it and I feel it. And, you know, it's nice for me, because then I know at the same time I'm preventing any atrophying of my immune system, of my nervous system. I'm constantly feeding it like I would a friendship. Imagine, like, you know, if I had a child, it'd be the same thing. I'm not just going to like give that child like, you know, scraps just so it's surviving. I want to constantly nourish it and talk to that child, constantly support that growth. And why wouldn't I do that for my body? Why wouldn't I do that for my organs? So my practices and my herbal practice is all around that.
I like it. I also like with all the products that you share with people, you always aim for the best, like world class, wild crafted, just the best that you can find. And I love that too. You found that you, as you continue the journey with all these things, that they're almost educating them, you as well.
Yeah, probably more so. Like, probably that's like half the reason I get to, like, in a non-narcissistic way and very selfish about the work that I'm in, because I get to, I get schooled every day by these herbs, and I get to learn by being around them. In terms of high quality, I mean, like, I'm a health nerd before I'm an entrepreneur by far, and so I kind of had to drop any techniques around business or entrepreneurialism, because I'm just like such a creative energy, and I just need to kind of like rock whatever coming to me. And a lot of the time I just get driven by my passion, like with the herbs. I don't know, I just, I can get quite woo woo with the conversation. If I can tell when a herb has the spirit of the herb still in it and when it doesn't. So I like to look at the nuts and bolts of processes, and I always do that and get testing. We want to make sure there's absolutely no heavy metals or anything like that, because I take the herbs. Like the whole thing about my business is they're my herbs. And then I share them out with everybody else as well. Like I do with my friends. It's how I started this whole thing. It's just a bigger scale now.
Yeah.
But if I get a product, if I get two identical products, they're both wild crafted, both extracted this way, whatever, both same testings. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll try them. I can taste one and try the other one. I can tell one's got the spirit in it. The other one doesn't have the spirit in it. That one was respected as it was processed. That one wasn't respected as a process. Very clear and obvious to me. And so that's kind of the way that I go about offering herbs as well.
That's what I'm so drawn to as well. Like a lot of the brands that we know, it's so easy to get to that point where it has to go commercial. And it's interesting, as soon as it sort of gets to that point, I've noticed with myself that I don't feel to take them anymore. And what I'm in my dream time and what I'm creating, I walk along at a market, and all of a sudden I just turn and there'll be 5 different chocolate guys, but the one that I happen to turn and talk to is the guy that happened to dream how to make chocolate. And he makes chocolate different to anyone else. Well, I think we sent it to you and it got lost, which we'll have to send you another one.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to that.
Yeah, I know. We sent it, definitely posted it, but it must have got lost. Some lucky person, hopefully somewhere.
Yeah, and that's chocolate will do that as well. Sorry, I know you think it needs to go over there, but he's right for the moment. I'm going to go over here and get that person out of their mind and into their heart.
This is where it's meant to be. But I always resonate with that. There's a company in Sydney called Ian White does it, Bushflower Essences.
Oh yeah.
And I had a client years ago who happened to work. She told me that she works in production, and my intuition was, no, you don't. Not in normal production. You're not in a factory or something. And then at the end of our first session together, she actually mentioned that she does the bushflower essences with a gentleman named Ian White. And apparently what he does, he'd probably be someone fun for both of us to spend time with too, I imagine. He has a feeling that he needs to drive 10 hours to go and get a flower off a tree in Brisbane. He drives all the way there, picks the flower off, drives home, puts it in a little thing and produces the product. Everything that goes out of the space there, he meditates on. There's mantras going all day. There's all kinds of things. And each one's specifically sent to the person that it's going to go to. How does he know who it's going to go to? Because he just knows. And I love that in modern times, things like this, when I spoke to you recently and I just had a really strong feeling to connect with you again. I love when we trust that, because it's so easy to shut us off and go, I've got enough stuff on at the moment. We've all got too many things. If we get into the logical mind, there's always going to be more to do, and there's so much noise. But how do you just find that space in every day, just to keep listening to that and not listen to other people's opinions in how you're creating your life or your business or your what you're doing, even around health nerds and nutrition. So many different opinions around health, right? We've both done a lot of different things.
Full on. There's a lot of noise in this world. A lot of expectation, a lot of external expectation, a lot of conditioning. I've had in practice, which I've just started to kind of give a name to a little bit now, that I just personally use. I I started trusting my desires a little bit more. That's the first thing.
Nice.
Basically what I did in a very basic sense, and I created something called an awesome list, which is different to a bucket list. I don't like bucket lists, and I always just couldn't do them because they always implied kicking the bucket. And that's just like, it was just, yeah, it was not a nice energy for me. And so what I've started doing is, in order to stay on track and not get distracted, I always spend time meditating, and I'll either just like tune into the present, or I'll think back into the past of things that I kind of like thought I wanted to do, things I wanted to experience, adventures I wanted to have. And then every now and then that one will reoccur enough. And oh yeah, okay. And I'll go like, first of all, I know for me, I want to bring a new level of sexy, funky, functional herbalism to the world. Now, when I tune into my awesome list of, that's kind of like my list of like, right, how do I want to paint this life we've got before me? How do I actually want it to look? And I think I tune into my innate excitement, my innate passion, and I think about creating a herbal business, and I think about competing with other herbal businesses that just talk, like just, I don't know, do it in a normal way. Here, educating people. Here, you should include this for this reason, or we're going to do it. We're going to bring ancient wisdom and just bring it to the present, and then you should respect it because it's ancient. It kind of bores the shit out of me. I'm such a creator energy that I can't handle the idea of just going out there and just educating people about why they should take this product. I'm much more, what I'm more excited about is invigorating practices that people are already doing to bring them greater connections. This is on my awesome list. This is like, that's the kind of life that I want. That I want to invigorate and help people bring enchantment back to their daily practices that are already enchanting. And so that's the way now that I run my business, or I'm continuing to tweak the brand of my business, because I did forget. I started kind of, doing that whole thing that you were talking about, like, that you get distracted by, like other people, health nerds, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. But I knew, one of the things that I've kind of got on my awesome list is to restore ferments and beer back to their essence and their origins. And so now that's there, and I go, oh, okay, cool, right, how am I going to do that? And that kind of spills over into my business, and it spills over into other opportunities for business, and that spills over into adventures that I have to go out and have in life. So all of a sudden on my awesome list, I've got 3 experiences and adventures to have. Okay, cool. I got to go over to South America and experience chicha with those guys. I need to go up and into Mexico and experience agave beer and start to tune into that whole situation. And then, right, the opportunity for business here in Australia, opportunity for me to bring back herbal essence and wisdom to beer just through my business I got right now. All of a sudden, I'm on track. Because I'm not distracted now. Other things that I get on my awesome list, like, because things with bucket lists and things you should be doing and ways you should be leading your life. Bucket list. Go to the Eiffel Tower, go to Yosemite National Park. Go here, and there can be awesome things, and you can have awesome adventures. But life's bloody long. Bucket lists imply that life is short, and you got to do it before you kick the bucket. Life is actually really long. And I mean, like, that's a slippery one for the mind. Everyone, like, I feel like I've met people who are like last days, and, they're still not seeing life as like some short minuscule thing, because that gets cloudy and it gets you taking actions based on expectations of what you need to do when life is short, and you got to fit stuff in. When you start breaking it out into like your awesome list, and other things coming up on my awesome list, and it's over and over and over again. I'm going to go do another ski season. I'm going to be a ski instructor. I haven't skied and done a season in years. I'm going to go up to like Scandinavia somewhere. It's probably going to be Norway. And I just want to become a master skier. Now, for years, I ignored that. Whatever master skier is, it's relative. But I ignored that for years because I was becoming some health professional, and there's no room when you're like no room for all that stuff, you know, when you're out there saving the world. And I'm over that. I'm following the clues of my instincts and my passion. That's one thing. I want to become a master skier. I want to be, you know, I want to be I want to be like a ranger out in the mountain. If someone's in trouble, I want to be able to get them out of there no matter what.
Nice.
And I want to ski under the Northern Lights. And then at the same time, while I'm there, I know I want to apprentice with like a Scandinavian shaman to teach me about the herbal wisdom of that world. So this is all going on my awesome list, right? And this isn't shit that's like needs to be fit in before I die. It's going to need to be integrated into my life. So now I start thinking, right, I am going to do that. Realistically, how long, you know, like, well, when, like, maybe I'll do it when I'm 50, whatever, but what kind of life do I need to create for myself in order to do that? Because there's other things as well, right? I need this kind of lifestyle and this kind of financial support, this kind of freedom. And then that starts to bring me back in check. It starts to bring me back on point. I mean, just this morning, I've kind of like realized, you know, like rehashing my awesome list, and I'm just like fluent in Spanish, whatever that is. And that's just come up over years, and I nearly lost my passion for it. I nearly just went, screw it. It's not relevant, whatever. But no, don't screw it. I wanted it at one point. I'll tune in. Do I still want it? Yeah, it'd be really nice. All right, that's it. That gets prioritized. And people go like, oh, but what about making money? Okay, well, let's just get that on the awesome list. How much do I need? You know, what do I want to create? How do I weave this all in? What about business in South America? Yeah, okay, cool. That's, you know, like that's all of a sudden I'm start weaving them all in together so that they can actually form the tapestry of my life. You know, there's no end to this. And so that's how I get more and more like, because there's endless possibility. I try when, you know, you're in the health game, try becoming a health educator and trying to be like, first of all, not being like institutionally trained. So you didn't spend 5 years studying nuts and bolts of anatomy. So you can't speak that language. You got to try and do it yourself. At the same time, not losing your enchantment. At the same time, trying to like choose, like, you know, do I study the immune system, the nervous system, endocrine system, like cellular biology, all of them bottomless pits. And however, but I'm up here, I'm just committed to people rocking life and just like living life in a very nice way. Very easy to get distracted. And I did for years, and thinking how much I needed to know and didn't need to know. And I kind of bring it back to those, you know, the awesome list, what I'm talking about, there are innate intentions that I have. You know, it doesn't matter about the Spanish, it doesn't matter about the skiing. What's that innate intention? There's an access to some kind of adventure there, some kind of experience in life. It's very, very meaningful for me. And I might kind of get there towards it and go, no, that's not actually relevant anymore. I've already accessed that. Now what's necessary? What wants to be there now? For some reason, echinacea trees. It's like, I want to grow an echinacea. Like it's just, I don't know why it's there. It's just there. And I assume echinacea will like save my life or a family member's life, like at some point in the future or something like that, or whatever, something will happen. But I'm going to do it because the inkling's there and the interest there. I recommend people to do that, you know, create an awesome list, and it's like, keep it like a living, breathing external projection of your innate intentions. And that'll help you gain momentum. You know, many, many times I've lost momentum in external expectations, and I come back, all right, that's all right. What I actually want to do, what do I actually want to create? It's very easy to see it as an external thing first, like learn Spanish, bring a modern renaissance to herbalism that makes people, like, it's functional, makes people's life easier. Okay. Then what is that? Cool. There's that feeling. Now let's go with it.
I love it. It's fun. I could talk to you for about 17 hours just about that alone. It's interesting. We'll make sure we do that. Sit down with some cacao around a campfire.
Yeah, man.
Oh, for sure. I'm feeling it. It's just interesting how something I noticed is we all just seem to bump into each other around the planet. It's interesting to me, you know, looking at all these different things, how all these different people just happen to all know each other. It shows up more now that we have social media. But my feeling, my sense of intuition is, even if we didn't have the social media, we'd all know each other.
Yeah, it's
definitely sped it up.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's an interesting one, because all these things outside of ourselves, like a business or our website, all those different things we think we need, they're all pieces of the puzzle. But it's so fun just to keep, drawing from that well within and expressing it in the outside world. It's so fun, and to see it in action. And I know for myself, again, inspiration from people like yourself and others that are taking a different tangent, remembering the dream time and remembering that the dream time is real. Everyone talks about the dream time. It's this past thing that the Aboriginals used to talk about, and they draw things on the caves like it was something they did back then. But the dream time's always been with us. We just try and switch it off, and we try and make everything solidified around us so that we know there we go there. Next time my cup's going to be there, so life's okay. Basing it on the certainty of expectation of all the different things we have. Yeah, it's a fun lifestyle. Final question. I'm going to put one more on there.
Yeah.
Just to keep it. I said we'd aim for 20 minutes. I knew we couldn't do it. We could talk 5 hours. But final question: your vision for 2016, just like a couple of sentences. And you don't have to answer it if you're not feeling it yet. But I just thought I'd ask you what's coming through you.
Yeah, it's a good question. What I'm feeling is the sense that I get is a very much a unified whole. That it's 2016 feels very, I don't know, I just feel myself walking into it just like slowly, just like I'm stepping into like a new environment that's very ancient. Like, it just feels complete for me. It feels like, my business, my relationships, my choices, they're all going to be a little bit, it's just going to become a bit smoother. I'm going to be able to do it without having fragments. I'm going to make a decision over here for my business, decision over here for my life, decision over here where I'm going to live, whatever. I'm going to be able to, it's going to have a bit more clarity in terms of making choices and taking steps that is going to have them all be cyclically acknowledged at the same time, if that makes sense.
I love it. I'm looking at it and writing down. I'm going to actually do it as an awesomeness list. I often put like the vision and write it out, get clear. But I find so many things happen in the unplanned. Like, it definitely is. I definitely have done it for a while where I'd like to go to Bali. Next thing, I've won a trip to Bali.
Wow.
I'll just point at something, and all I've been doing lately is, in the dream time, what we would do is we'd sit around campfire and we'd all share our stories, so we would all gain access to the different frequencies of life creation. And at some point we forgot that, and we got into personal development, goal setting, and law of attraction. All these things are relevant. They're like a little piece of the puzzle. But then if we can all just get those little pieces of the puzzle and emit the different frequencies, which is, all these different wild foods and the thought processes and the meditation and the movement, all these different things. I'm just stoked for who we can become, like not just now, but also in 5 years' time. And I've been saying it to people I've been chatting to for this YouTube. Let's have a chat again in a year. Well, you and I will obviously be speaking before then. Let's have a recorded conversation, back in a year, and we'll be interested to see what's happened.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be easy to remember the date. Christian New Year, 2016.
Pumped for 2016. Christy and I looked at it and we go, let's move as much as possible. Let's travel, and let's do tons of yoga and heaps of festivals.
Yeah, nice.
And our business works. Like, Christy's got her business, I got my business that we do, and it's just fun just to put those big things in place, the big rocks almost that are so important, and let everything else move around that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah, it's cool. Any final comments for everyone? If people want to connect with you, what's the best way?
The easiest way to connect with me is via my website, masonjtaylor.com, just the little J in the middle there. Yeah, you can tune in with me on Facebook as well, and check out the podcast as well, Mason.
Oh yeah,
the Mason Taylor Show.
I'll grab a link. I'll put that below this so people can find it there.
Yeah, epic. Look, I just the best intention, like the best comment that I can have is just tune in. Like, singing helps. Saying remember your song and your dance. Pick up an instrument. If you ever want to do it, like play an instrument, just go and do it. Just like sing more. Just do it. Spend time in nature. Remember your song. Remember your dance. It's much easier than to get your intention and your essence out into all areas, your business and your health and all that. And you can just take some real, intentional steps.
Nice. Have you ever performed with music?
Not really. Like, I've performed just with in ceremony, playing the yadaki, opened for a couple of people for their events. But that's it. I just sing to myself quite a bit. got my favorite type of music that I like to sing, and I'm about to open up the adventure for going and deepening my work with the didge and eventually guitar as well.
Fun. Man, it's such a pleasure to have you on here. Really stoked to see what shows up for you in 2016. I just love real people, and I love seeing real people doing really well. I think that's definitely shifted a lot lately. Just in what I've seen with the speaking circuit and different things from when I used to do it many years ago to being involved again now. It's just fun. So yeah, man, many blessings to you. Look forward to catching up in our bodies, hugging it out, doing some movement, having some more of these yummy things. And everyone, stay tuned with Mason. He's doing some phenomenal things in the world. And just keep in touch. Lots of love, everyone. Peace.
See ya.